Hi you guys. So I kind of wanted to make a second video about my trip to Mount Shasta. The first one I made with my sister Jasmine, but I just felt the need to just make one more because I've actually had a lot of synchronicities and confirmations happen since making that video. So, and I also have a little bit better understanding of what I was experiencing, but at the same time I'm still confused. So let me just tell you guys the story.
So I went to Mount Shasta for my birthday. I went on a tour with Paul. He took me to 2 portals on the mountain. One was for receiving, and that was Ascension Rock. And then one was for, I always forget that word, receiving? And the opposite of receiving. I don't know, you guys, my memory's been really gone lately because we're going through all these upgrades, so I just go with the flow. But anyways, the Star of David portal was for releasing. There we go. Okay, Star of David portal was for releasing, and then the Ascension Rock was for receiving. So we went to those 2, and
I went into that experience, or I actually went into Mount Shasta with very high expectations. I had read Telos previously before going on my first trip, and needless to say, was like expecting some crazy mystical experience, but it never happened like that for me. It was a beautiful experience, but as far as like seeing things in the forest like I did this time, the most I saw in the trees was smiley faces, and it was only when Paul pointed it out that they all have personality. I didn't understand it the first trip, but when I went back to Mount Shasta again for the second trip with my soul sister Jasmine, we both met there on the 22nd. It was the full moon. It was the December energies and portals. And then on top of that, just Mount Shasta in its own right is a powerful energy. So there was a lot going on, and a lot happened on that trip. So if you guys watched my first video, we kind of explained it, but I just kind of want to go more in depth about what happened. So I'll start by saying that I drove out there. I was running late, so this was actually my first time meeting Jasmine. I was driving all the way from the Bay Area, and she drove all the way from LA area. So that was crazy that we both felt that call so strongly that we just ended up, the universe put it all together. It was divinely planned, even though we were consciously unaware of it. It was definitely a beautiful, divinely guided trip. Sorry that I keep saying so much. I'm gonna try to not do that. So we get there. I just did it again. So we get there. Okay, it's obviously something that I can't help, so just try to ignore that. So we get there and we meet Paul. We meet him, and he tells us that we're gonna go on these new portals, the different ones than I went to last time, and I was really excited. So as we're driving, Paul says he's taking us to the Joy portal, and we go to the Joy portal, and I didn't have too much of an experience there, but that portal was very special for Jasmine because she found out about her Arcturian, that she was like an Arcturian starseed. I don't know really how to explain it besides that. So I asked Paul, can you tell where Jasmine is from? And he looks at her. It was so powerful, you guys. He looks at her and he's like smiling, and when Paul smiles, there's like love pouring out of his eyes. He's an amazing person. So he's looking at her and he's like, you're Arcturian. And I just started bursting out crying, and I felt really bad because I kind of interrupted the moment, but I was almost like hyperventilating, like I couldn't control it. So I was like, oh my God, like how powerful. I looked at her and I saw her as an Arcturian being, and it was very powerful. Paul said he found that portal, and it has been verified by other guides. I don't remember much about if it was receiving or releasing, but I didn't experience much on that portal besides. Maybe it was releasing, besides that huge release of emotions. I don't know, maybe it was. But so then the second portal he takes us to, he tells us, is called the Temple of Divine Union. And I forgot because I read the Telos book so fast before my trip that was in the Telos book, and Jasmine is like, that's from the Telos book, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, wait, what? And then she reminds me that it was the temple where Oriella, she held this beautiful ceremony, and it's called the Temple of like Love, the Temple of Divine Union. So I will put the link up, or the clip, so you guys can see the story, because it's very special. It's very special. It's a very special place. And then Paul found that place because he said that he remembers it from his past lives here. I don't think it was past lives being human, but it was past lives in Lemuria and Atlantis, and he remembers, and I'm going to put up the clip because he says it so much better than I can.
This place holds the frequency of a temple that used to be here, a temple of unity, cosmic unity, unity between governments, unity between planets, all things. And they were happened here, and this went up a lot taller, and pink and gold and crystalline, and it went out from the side, to the right, and to the left way, a lot further than the tree line. The ocean was a lot closer. I don't know how, but it just was closer. It's a place where all kinds of Arcturians, Venusians, Pleiadians, everyone was coming here, and this was a place to bring them together into the Federation of Light, to the Brotherhood of Light. And so the Venusians had a lot to do with it, and so I was here during this time, and I was here as light. I was here in this fifth dimension, or seventh, and I remember being here and working with the Atlanteans and the Lemurians and all of them, everyone, the Arcturians, here. And this is why I found this place here, because I used to work here, and I'm so happy that we're here today on this day of unity and joy and love with just cosmic activations. And so I'm gonna put out a blanket that I have here, because the main vortex is there, and we're gonna do a meditation to help raise the frequency of things, okay?
You could definitely feel the energy there. And so Paul was like, kind of go where you guys want to go right now and follow your intuition. So that's when Jasmine, she went to the left side, where it was just this huge opening of snow, blank snow, and surrounded by trees in the background. It was beautiful. And so she went there, and I was really drawn to these rocks, huge rocks. I'm gonna put the pictures up. And so there was a little clearing of snow, and then surrounded just by huge rocks that were just oozing this magnificent energy. And I was very drawn to go there, and I don't remember what I did there. I was kind of just walking around and petting the snow and rocks and just soaking all the energy in. I was smiling so big, and so then Paul like gathers us together, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna lay us all down like a tarp. We're gonna lay down, because we were in the snow, so we all had snow pants on, snow everything, and we had to lay on tarp so we didn't get wet. And Paul brought these nice chairs for us. We didn't sit. Me and Jasmine ended up laying down. That's how I feel most. 1313. I've not seen that one before. So, sorry, that distracted me. So we all lay down, and unfortunately during this guided meditation I couldn't hear much. So I didn't get much out of the meditation, or so I thought. I didn't consciously get much out of the meditation, because I couldn't hear Paul's guided meditation, and I couldn't interrupt just to tell him I couldn't hear, because it was very sacred meditation. And so I just kind of sat and waited for him to finish, and then I forgot, I think he asked like what we saw in meditation, and of course I said that I couldn't hear much, and So then me and Jasmine, we went and ate peanut butter jelly sandwiches. It was really sweet. She packed us a lunch and we kind of sat and talked a little bit, bonding. And then Paul, it was either Paul said something or we just decided to get our crystals. I think Paul said, get your crystals. And then we both had Lemurian crystals, so we went to go get our crystals, and then we went up to the area where I was drawn to go in the little snow clearing surrounded by rocks. And I'm gonna put up the pictures so you guys could see, because there were actually guardians in that area that I didn't see until after I looked at the pictures. So it was pretty crazy, and oh my god, I really wish I would have saw it while I was there so I could have tried to like connect more, but it wasn't meant to be. Everything that was supposed to happen happened. So we take our crystals and we lifted them up into the air. I had two, and Jazz had one, and so it was like the power of three, and we were just kind of sending love out into the universe. And Paul was kind of in the background like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is so powerful. I think he could have seen the energy or something because of the way he was saying things. It was really like motivating us and encouraging us to keep going. And then so after that, it was so powerful. Me and Jasmine and Paul, we all hugged, and we were anchoring love down in through the ground and sending it out into the universe. And so we were breathing and then expanding our love out into the universe. It was very beautiful, very, very beautiful. So after that, we're hiking to leave. But I saw this magnificent lion head in the snow, and it was like uncanny resemblance. It freaked me out in such a good way. Like every time I see these things, I got so excited, and I was like, Paul, Jasmine, you guys look. And they would always verify, oh my gosh, you're right, it looks exactly like that. So I was so excited, but I didn't understand. I remember when we went into the forest, Paul was like, whatever you guys see is meant for you. And I got like really excited. I was like, what is he talking about? Does he know we're gonna be seeing some crazy shit? But I don't know. I think he did, because I saw some, oh my god. So I'm just gonna tell you guys. So after the lion's head, I went, I never went and like actually tried to connect with the lion. I didn't understand what it was. I just thought, like, I didn't understand what I was seeing at first. That's why I wanted to make this video, now that I kind of understand what it was. So I actually found out afterwards that it was a lion being, which is pretty crazy, but I got a very, very heavy experience or sign or whatever, that the person who told me that it was a lion being, she was correct, because I went in my room after that and I tried to feel the presence of the lion being, and I felt it, and I was in tears, and it was magnificent and courageous and powerful and protective and loving. And I sat there cradling its head, its invisible head, in my arms because I couldn't see it. I could only feel the energy in my palms, the way that I feel the Reiki energy, where my palms, they kind of feel prickly, tingly sensation, and then warmth and heat. So that's how I knew the lion being was in my room. As crazy as it sounds, I don't care, because I'm just so excited. So if you guys want to believe it, that is beautiful. And if not, that's okay too. I'm not trying to make anyone believe anything that they don't want to. But so that was another like crazy confirmation. Somebody messaged me after that, and I'm gonna put the conversation up. It's my beautiful friend Goddess Talks, and she said, hey, I think you saw a lion being. And that was before I ever heard of lion being. So after that, we had a conversation, and that same night is when I went and tried the experiment to ask the lion being to kind of appear for me. Oh, it was amazing. Maybe I'll make a whole nother video about that experience. Let me know in the comments if you guys would want me to do that. So after that, we were hiking to the other portal, or no, we didn't hike. We had to go back to the car and drive to a different place. So we're driving back to the car, and Paul says, we're gonna go to Telos. And he either said Telos portal or we're going to Telos. Either way, it like shocked me, and I was like, what? What are you talking about? Because last time I didn't go to those portals. Like, he asked this trip where he should take us, and I guess that trip was the right time for us to visit Telos, because I remember last time when I went for my birthday, I never got any experience. I obviously really wanted to, in meditation or during a dream, go into Telos, because that's usually how it happens. You don't physically enter this city because this city is not physical. It's Telos, it's a fifth dimensional city in Mount Shasta. I know it sounds crazy. But anyways, you guys should really get the Telos books if this sounds interesting, because it explains it all. It's 3 books that were channeled by Oriella Louise Jones, I believe is how you pronounce the name. I've only gotten through the first one and half of the second one, and they're the most amazing books. They're so sacred to me, and I remember when I first read the Telos book, I felt very connected to Adama, the high priest of Telos. And so when we did go into Telos during the meditation, I actually got to meet Adama, and that was very, very special and sacred for me. But I didn't actually believe it at first. So let me just tell you guys the story, and then I will kind of give you guys a background about what happened afterwards that confirmed everything for me. So we were in the car driving after Paul tells us that. I'm so excited. And when we get there, we are hiking through the snow. I'm gonna put the videos up because it's so cool. I have like my rainbow warrior stick. Paul has his, and we're hiking, and when we got to the Telos portal, it's this huge opening encompassed by trees, and it's pretty amazing. So I just saw 444. So we were kind of rushing. We trekked literally 4 or 5 hours. It was a 4 or 5 hour tour, and we were hiking in snow. So we were very out of breath, very tired. But my excitement, I was so excited I couldn't get tired. I was like, my adrenaline was just so, every time I saw something in the tree, or I felt a need to go through 2 trees that I felt were like a gateway or a doorway, I would just run, because Paul kept saying, whatever you want to do, just do. Like, you're leaving your energy imprint too, also, when you go and you feel like if something's a doorway and you walk through there, then you are now leaving that energetic imprint. So I thought that was pretty cool. I left a lot of imprints for you guys. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm not. So we get there and we're rushing, and so needless to say, our meditation was a bit rushed. And so let me just tell you guys what happened. So we're laying there, and Paul is doing a guided meditation. I'm not gonna share the whole guided meditation because that is, I think, something that you guys have to experience with Paul because it's too special. But I will tell you up until the point where we were standing at an elevator and we press the T for Telos button. It's a green button. We press it after we go down in the elevator, and when we get out, Paul stops guiding us, and I kind of was stuck and I was blank. And when Paul stopped guiding us, I got really nervous and my mind was racing, and I was like, oh no, shit, Paul left. I don't know what to do now. And so like it took, I think it took about 5 minutes or a little less for me to quiet down those thoughts. It was like all thoughts coming out of fear. It was worry. It was like, I'm not gonna see enough in time. I'm not gonna have an experience. Oh no, oh no. I want things to happen this way. I'm scared it won't happen this way. It just played out like that for a few minutes until I finally let those thoughts settle in, and other thoughts started to come in and say, you've been here before. Stop expecting, because you know in your heart that you're gonna get the experience that you need, and it may not be in the form of how you want it, but it will be how it's supposed to be. So I just kept telling myself that, and I literally remember going over those thoughts in my head and saying, all right, Melissa, like, just relax, embrace this experience. Whatever happens, happens. And then I also told myself, if nothing happens, don't be disappointed, because you had such a magical experience already that you got the experience you wanted regardless of what happens in this meditation. And so after going through those thoughts in my head, Adama appeared and was kind of insinuating telepathically, where do you want to go? What do you want to see? And then I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much. I read so much in Telos books. I gotta pick. And so I actually did pick something, but I forgot what it was. I didn't get to see it because we came out of the meditation, but I didn't care because I was just so excited about everything that happened the whole trip that nothing could have dimmed that light. I was just so joyous. And it was so beautiful because Paul kept commenting on how my eyes lit up and they wouldn't stop. Like every time Jasmine and Paul turned around, I was actually a little embarrassed because I looked like crazy. I looked like I was on like some drugs or something, but it was just natural fifth dimensional bliss that I was in. So after we come out of the meditation, Paul asks us what we see, and I actually came out of the meditation not knowing if my experience was real or not. So let me tell you guys the story. Like, I really don't think I saw anything. I think I kind of made it up because I was desperate to experience something, but like I kind of sat there in the blank after you left us at the elevator, not knowing what to do or where to go. And then I told him like kind of the processes that I went through in my mind, and then Adama appeared, and then he was like, just verified, like, it wasn't your imagination, or even if it was your imagination comes from somewhere, and it was a very real experience. Again, take it for what you want. I'm only sharing this experience like in case people are interested in it, you know? But if you think I sound crazy, you might not want to watch the rest of the video because it's gonna get crazier. So after that, I kind of let that soak in, and I actually had this experience in my Reiki attunement where we all did this guided meditation. It was literally like the Reiki attunement situation all over again. So I'm just going to tell you guys what happened with the Reiki attunement so I can explain something that actually really helped me, and it might help other people too, so I just want to share it. When I first went to do the Reiki 2 attunement, we did a guided meditation, and everyone had this magnificent vision. One girl fell asleep, and then I was the only one who was conscious, who didn't experience anything. And I remember I also didn't feel the Reiki energy the first day, and I went home crying. And then also that's when I started doubting everything, and I was like, I don't even know if this stuff is real. Like, I was just really disappointed about the experience. But then I went home and tried it on myself that night after the Reiki 1 attunement, and I actually felt the energy and I started just crying. It was so amazing because that was my first, like, I don't know if you want to call it like supernatural experience where I ever felt anything that like wasn't there, that you couldn't see. I don't know how to explain it, but that was my first experience, and that was beautiful. For the second level and our second attunement, we did another guided meditation, and I had nothing. Well, actually, I forgot. So I did have something, but I thought I made it up. That was the thing. I had 3. So I actually had this magnificent vision, but I doubted it, and I told the teacher too. I said, I think I made it all up because, like, I had actually nothing. I had no vision. I don't get visions. I'm not like psychic like that. So, but I remember the teacher saying to me, "Where do you think imagination comes from, sweetie?" And then it kind of like made me think. I knew it came from somewhere because I remember reading something about that, and I know that everything you can imagine is real, or I have been learning that and finding that out. So anyways, needless to say, I have been having a lot of experience where I've learned to trust my imagination and my intuition. So after Paul was like, no, stop, that was real, like, stop doubting yourself, I actually really let it soak in, and I finally stopped doubting my experiences as something unreal, because it was really real to me, and it was real. So after that, we went home and we made our video about the experience, but I still didn't understand what I was seeing in the forests. I remember seeing 2 gnomes. I didn't know what they were at first until I went and looked it up. But so it was in the trees. So you would see, it actually looked, and maybe it was only appearing like this to me because in my subconscious I remember the gnomes having a hat like down to here and barely seeing their eyes, and all you saw was this big massive nose. And so I saw those in the baby trees that were like this big, and they only chose to embody themselves in those little baby trees. And the 2 I saw, they had a branch with snow on the branch that looked like a nose, and it resembled an exact gnome, and it was unmistakable. And I'm very sad I never took a picture because I had to keep taking my gloves off, and I had 2 pairs of gloves. It was snowing, it was freezing, my hands were freezing, and I didn't want to keep stopping and taking pictures because we were kind of in a rush because the sun was going down. So I never got a picture of the gnomes, but I did get a picture of the lion head that I saw and the Yeti that I think it was a Yeti. So when I got home, I found out that what I was perceiving was earth elementals with the gnomes. I've never even heard of elementals, but I found these 2 videos. One was by, I think her name's Carice Molina, and she's this amazing person. You guys have to check her out. I've been watching her videos like all night long yesterday. One of her videos was connecting to fairies, and so she gives these tips, and one of her tips is actually what helped me feel the lion being presence, when she says you can ask them to reveal themselves to you, and in a way that cannot be denied. And that's what I did, and that's when I experienced the lion being, but that will be a different video. So the other synchronicity and confirmation I got was I found this other video talking about elementals, and so I said, wow, I want to know more about this. And so I find this book by Max Heindel about earth spirits, which is the same thing. And then I think this was last night, and then I'm going through my old notes for my book that I'm writing. I've been kind of, I think, writing a book. I won't say too much about it, but I pull out my notes, and a quote falls out, and I look at it, and it's a quote by Max Heindel. So yeah, I've been getting really crazy signs and synchronicities. So after those 2 videos, and I realized that I was experiencing or perceiving elementals, and I got very excited, and so I'm going to be buying this book by Max Heindel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I'm gonna put some clips up so you can see. And wow, you guys, it was amazing to just realize that I was experiencing that. And so another confirmation I got was my friend told me that she's psychic, and she told me that my crown chakra was wide open after that trip, and that my communication with the spirit world was now open. that was so magical. I started crying when she told me that, and I felt that because that was my first mystical experience. Another confirmation I got was that she said that the beings, or the guardians that I saw on the rocks, she said she felt giant energy and pillar energy, and she said when she asked what they were guarding, she was shown a huge energy vortex. And I said that makes so much sense, because they were guarding the place where the Temple of Union is held in the 5th dimension, but the energy's still there physically on Mount Shasta. And she said that makes sense, yes. And so so the one other thing that I just want to mention before ending this video is that I saw a Yeti in one of the trees, and I actually asked Paul and Jasmine to take a picture of it because it was too magnificent to skip. I will never forget it. It was so magnificent. I perceived it as a Yeti, but something very interesting that I want to share is somebody in my comments after I posted the picture says, "This actually gives me the vibe of Kuan Yin." And I said, I'm getting chills when I'm talking about it right now. I said, it's very interesting you said that, because another psychic friend of mine, called, her name on Instagram is Emmy Evolving. I'm gonna tag her too, my beautiful soul sister. She did a reading for me, a past life reading, and said that we were both connected to Kuan Yin in a past life. So I thought that was a little weird. I still perceive it as a Yeti, but then somebody else messaged me and she said, hey, I just saw that comment that someone said that that tree resembled Kuan Yin, and she sent me a picture, and I'm getting chills right now talking about it, goosebumps. She sent me the picture, and even the hands were positioned like that, and the cone head, and you know, I really don't know now. Now I'm like, is it Kuan Yin? Was it a Yeti? I don't know. But I'm gonna do some more exploring on that subject. So I'm really happy I got to make this video for you guys, because I had so much more to talk about. But I'm so happy to share this story with you guys, and stay tuned, because I'm gonna be making more videos and having more crazy experiences to share with you guys. So just stay tuned, and I love you all, and